to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg back on the show. A friend of the show.
He is.
One of the most polarizing black men in America right now. His name is Van Jones. What's
in the house.
What's going on, man?
Oh man, it's good. It's good. I guess when you get tens of thousands of black people out of prison, you become.
Nah, it's not good enough, man. It's not good enough. You sat down with Dr. Evil. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You sat down with Dr. Evil.
Hey, listen, I understand it. I violated the cardinal rule of blackness, which is I don't mess with people who mess with people who I don't mess with. People say,
I don't mess with people.
I don't mess with them. If you mess with them, I don't mess with you. I understand that's a cardinal rule of blackness. I violated it, and I'm glad that I did.
Well, it's
because we got 14,000 people out of prison. I'll do that. I'll violate. I'll cross that line. I don't want it. Y'all don't want you to do it. I want most of our people to stay where you are, but I will walk across that line to get our people free.
Well, Van, let's be fair and unpack this, okay?
Yeah.
So going back to The View, but even going back to our last conversation on this program, right? We had a conversation with you about your sit down with Jared Kushner and the fact that you have a singular goal in mind as a human over the last 25 years.
Yes.
Which has been getting people out of jail who are in jail for nonviolent crimes, drug offenses predominantly, and mostly black and brown individuals, correct?
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's a bigger group than that, but that is my core.
That was your core motivation as a human.
Yeah, for the past 25 years. In fact, 25 years ago, this year, January 1, 1996, I started my first criminal justice organization, the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights. We have since built 3 Reform Alliance, which I just got promoted to the board there. And then also Dream Corps' Cut 50 campaign. So I built 3 in the past 25 years, distinct organizations. We got 14,000 people out of federal prisons. Just in California alone, 300,000 people are going to get off of probation and parole early. I have passed 18 bipartisan bills. I am a fanatic about this because it's personal to me.
So, and I just wanted to set the table there because we just went through and we're still in it, but we just went through a very polarizing, emotional, tumultuous political cycle.
Yes. One
of which I never experienced in my 46 years on Earth. You've been on the front lines of this for a while. So you are often, criticized for the relationships you have, which the end goal is getting people out of prison, but you didn't ever really make politics wasn't your goal. You just got thrust into the political conversation to get bills passed, correct?
Yeah, but you can understand though why people are upset, because if black people had run up into the Capitol in the middle of the joint session of Congress and tore the place up and killed a police officer, every single person there, including an Uber driver who just dropped somebody off, would be in prison for felony murder, accessory to murder. It happens in our community all the time. So 5 black kids are in a car, one dude jumps out, robs a store. They don't even know what's going on in the car. He shoots somebody. All of them go to prison for 30 to 40 years for accessory murder, felony murder.
No question. No vacation to Mexico.
No vacation to Mexico. No wedding, destination wedding. No organic food. You are in prison. And so when we see our kids being shot down on our video camera every day, and then you see the disparity, people are supposed to be upset. It's outrageous what's going on. But I've been fighting that my whole life. The first thing I did when I got out of law school, I started suing police officers for this thing. So we have to be careful not to get manipulated against each other, used against each other, take this video, take this soundbite, and have us fighting each other at the very moment we need to be coming together. I'm not mad at anybody for asking me a tough question. That's their job to ask me a tough question. But my answer was never shown. But the internet picked up the question and didn't show the answer. That's not about The View. That's not about Van Jones. That's about manipulating us to be against each other when we should be for each other.
Well, I think there's 2 pieces at least that I feel about you, Van. And aside from the fact that when you come on the show, I like you and your energy is, you seem like a good dude. I understand people's doubt, and I think some of it's in semantics. So there's two things I think about. Number one, people believe you're an opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fair to say you are an opportunist with the goal being your specific cause around getting people out of jail?
I will take any opportunity to get our people out of jail. If it means an opportunity, I will take the opportunity to talk to anybody. The thing about it is 80% of black people are locked up. We march and we do our woke thing and we get on Twitter and we do our thing, usually in safe blue cities, often when we go to marches. We have a few in the red cities, not that many. 80% of black folk are locked up in red states or purple states, where you cannot get our people out unless a Republican says yes or no.
What's a purple state?
Leans red.
Like a Michigan, where they have where we got the governorship, but they have the legislature.
Got it.
Or
Okay.
Pennsylvania, we have the governorship, they got the legislature. So Democrats by ourselves cannot just.
So you got to talk to people you don't like and agree with on many issues.
You have to. And let me just tell you, my constituency are people who are locked up. They can't vote. They can't march. They can't tweet. They are completely without power. So I have to multiply friends for them. Listen, some people need to multiply enemies and say, I'm never speaking to you. You ain't nothing. You're a racist, blah, blah, blah. That's one role. But somebody's got to multiply friends, because these folks literally have nothing. And in red states and purple states, if I can't get those Republican votes, I can't get my people out. And so, yes, does it look terrible? I understand it looks terrible. When you see a picture of me with somebody you hate, you're going to have a revulsion. I understand that. But I'm doing my job. Other people have other jobs to do. I'm doing mine. Don't let us get manipulated. You could just as easily put up pictures all over the internet of me with Barack Obama, who I work for, Biden, who I work for, Michelle Obama, who I work with, or any other leaders. Why do they keep picking this one picture from the one day I was winning? Though I was happy because we were winning. We got the bill signed. I'm cheesing like a mug because we about to bring home.
What photo is this you're referencing?
The photo of me sitting next to Jared and the photo of Candace Owens standing next to me. They run it over and over again, but the president had just announced he was going to sign our bill. I was cheesing like a mug because we were going to win. You don't see black men winning that much. You see us protesting. You see us mad. You don't. So, yes, I was cheesing like a mug, and I will cheese every time we win because it's so hard to win.
And so you recognize that you, in an effort to achieve your agenda, were also used as cover. You recognize that.
See, here's the thing about it. And let me just tell you something. Is it possible that the black man was using the white man too?
That's right.
There's something about us that if you see a black man next to a white man, you say the white man is using the black man.
But that's the power, because that's the power dynamic we're accustomed to. And
Exactly.
it's also you also remember we have, as a culture of black folks, been betrayed and let down
over and over.
So when I see people, and you and I talk about this, and just for the audience, full disclosure, Van and I text often.
Yes,
and I even crack jokes on him privately on the text.
all the time.
But that's my
Too
way
often.
of but that's my way of getting you, just letting you know, like, look, man, it's black love is here's the thing, and you know this. Black love is dysfunctional. Because we've been through a lot of shit. And we're constantly testing people to make sure that they are who they say they are.
Yes.
The fact that you're back here today after, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, Sonny says to you, and I saw it in your face when Sonny hosted on The View, said to you, black people don't trust you. You have a switch, and I know you well enough at this point. You have this switch, and it hurts you to hear that. That hurt you. And I saw you strike back at her, and I thought you did well. Now, once again, talking about how people take, snippets. People posted Sonny's snippet coming for you, and they was very happy to see Sonny come for you, and I get that too. But I was also proud of how you didn't start crying, because I know you wanted to start crying.
Well, it was a broad thing to say. It was
I know my brother Van, and he is very passionate, and I know he wanted to cry when a black woman said to him, black people don't trust you.
Yeah.
But you did a good job.
But let me say something. you're never going to hear me say anything negative about Sunny Hostin. They want us to fight. That she did her job. That's her job. She's supposed to ask a tough question, and I'm supposed to be able to answer it. Now, when I answered it, and then it was never promoted on the internet, and you saw the algorithms picking up only her question, never my answer. That's the problem. Why is it that one of the few black men in America that can get thousands of people out of prisons gets a tough question, gives a decent answer, but you never saw the answer?
Now, and Van,
That's what we have to deal with.
And let's cut to the real heart of this, in my opinion. You are still living down, and I was mad at you, so I understand. Sure. You are, and we've talked about it before. You are still living down. This is the moment Donald Trump just became presidential, when you said that on CNN after the State of the Union. Do you ultimately regret saying that because of how it's stuck to you ever since?
No, I don't, because of the way I am on television. And this is what Ebro's always giving me crap about, and all my friends are. I'm in the moment. If something strikes me as emotional, if I get moved, if I get mad, if I get sad, that's just who I am on television. Other people, they have their script, they stick to it, they know their persona, they play their role. I've never been that guy. And so to the extent that he did something I was excited about, we got to remember, he'd only been president for a couple of weeks. I was like, maybe this is going to be a good thing. I never said it again, because you can see what he's doing. But so I understand people want to, 4 years later, 5 years later, continue to tag me with that. That is fair for them to do that. But I don't want to start regretting, oh, well, I said something in a moment. I shared it.
Because it was authentic.
I regret that. It was authentic to how I was feeling. And then, by the way, and let's not forget, I spent 12 minutes that night tearing Donald Trump apart. And I also said in that one moment, because I got to remember, my dad is a veteran, and he had passed away, and I got caught up in that moment. But I'm never going to go back and start taking apart authentic moments, even if what I said didn't make sense 10 minutes later. That's what I said. I said what I said. But look at my whole record. I also had some of the strongest moments against Donald Trump, which is now being forgotten.
Now, Van, you are, to be able to do the work that you've done for the last 25 years, you have a level of optimism and hope that normal human beings are not equipped with. Okay, and I think you also need to factor that in when you see people coming for you, that they just can't, they haven't been where you've been, and they can't see what you see. Okay, they're only thinking about today, last week, maybe, and maybe a week in advance. And you know how the internet moves. That's even a shorter time frame. But your optimism has now brought you to a point where you're working on focusing, as I think you put it, the awesome people, the people who want to do the great work right now of figuring out how to separate themselves from being what the Republican Party is becoming, right? And people who want to align with individuals that want to find solutions to our problems, no matter your political party.
Yeah, look, I think that, look, I'm a part of the mainstream media, so I'm indicting myself as much as anybody else. But I do think the media has now created a sense in people's minds that the main problem in the country is that we have these awful people in the other party. Now, if you're watching Fox, it's the awful people in the Democratic Party, socialists, race card players, cancel culture. If you're watching others, it's the awesome people in the awful people in the Republican Party, Nazis, racists, cultists, whatever. But that's so disempowering, because now my fate is in the hands of the awful people in somebody else's party. I think that is a problem. But the bigger problem is that we do have awesome people of all backgrounds, all races, all classes, both political parties, who honestly just don't know what to do. People are just traumatized and spun around. And I'm trying to figure out, well, what can the awesome people do together? Can we at least help these children? The bottom 25%, Ebro, of Americans' kids, because of COVID, because of the lockdown, they have fallen off the table. Okay, and I mean, real hunger, no education. They can't get on the internet to watch a YouTube video, let alone these Google classrooms and stuff like that. And nobody's doing a damn thing about it because we're so busy fighting about the awful people. Can we get together and at least back those children's charities and help these kids get food and get some Wi-Fi hotspot? Listen, we can fight 29 days out of the month. That's fine. But can we at least have one day in the month where we do something to help people? That's all I'm saying. A lot of this stuff we're going to have to fight about. And when you have a racist, terrorist organization or network getting away literally with murder.
Say it again, network. A network.
A network of racist white terrorists who are getting bigger every day, who've gotten away with murder in broad daylight in the hall of Congress, in the joint session of Congress, and nobody is in prison. We are in danger. So we have to fight. But we can't only fight and still have a country. There is some stuff that we could get done to bring the temperature down a little bit and help somebody. And I'm always going to be standing for that. And if that means sometimes I'm standing next to somebody you don't like, good. You don't then have to do that. You can do your part of it. And please don't understand. I understand why am I able to walk in some of these rooms now? Because Black folks are in the streets protesting, marching, and saying we're not going to take it anymore. So the inside-outside dynamic, let's be as sophisticated as a system we're trying to change. Let's work together inside, outside. Don't be manipulated by a picture or a sound bite. Sure, there's some pictures you're not gonna like, some sound bites you're not gonna like, but I got 25 years of real work in real prisons I think that you would like. Let's work together and get folk home and get help to children. If that makes me an optimist, I'm proud to be an optimist. If that makes me an opportunist, I'll take any opportunity to help our kids and get folk out of prison.
Well, on that note, Van, I see you teamed up with Meghan McCain for the Reunited States, the documentary, right? Yeah. I saw mixed reviews. I saw some people said we really didn't need this because they definitely don't, like, as to the conversation, they don't see having any kind of, like middle ground with the Republicans. But can you explain to me why did you choose Meghan McCain to team up for this project and tell us a little bit about the documentary?
Well, it's called The Reunited States. Some people would say we've never been as united as we were supposed to be in the first place. So the title itself is provocative. The producer, the directors actually picked me and Megan. If you guys both work on it together as producers, that would bring some balance to people's understanding of it. Look, what I love about this documentary is that one of the storylines in there is a conservative family. It's true. It's a real documentary. Who leaves everything behind just to go, I don't understand what's happening in the country. Why are we all fighting? And you see them encounter racism, real racism. And you see how once you get out of your bubble, once they got out of their bubble, they saw a completely different America. And so this is the kind of thing, if Republicans will watch it, it will help them understand. And the thing I think we sometimes forget, we're going to have two parties. You don't want to live in a country where you have one party state, that's called dictatorship. So we're going to have two parties. If we can do some things to throw a little bit of wisdom into that other party and help them have some tools so that they can get better, that helps everybody. I'm a Democrat, never voted for a Republican in my life. In fact, I was a Green Party member until very recently. So I'm on the left side of Pluto when it comes to politics. But when it comes to getting stuff done, Black Lives Matter, as I always say, math matters too. We're only 13% of the population. If we can pull more of them in a positive direction, stay in your Republican Party. Don't come over here. We got enough problems. Stay in your Republican Party and make it better. I'm going to stay in my Democratic Party and make it better, and hopefully we can get somewhere.
Do you see, Van, that you mentioned that picture of Candace Owens with you?
Yes.
We have long, on this show, we've always said that we have no interest in a dialogue with Candace Owens and what she's trying to say and do. Do you have a relationship with her? Do you think there is a middle ground with someone like that, or is that a totally hopeless situation?
Look, I worked with Candace to get that First Step Act bill passed. And what people don't know about Candace, and I wish she would speak more about this, she got family members in the system. And as much as we fuss and fight and disagree, and as much as I'm increasingly dismayed by her positions, she's got folk in prison. And so she brought 100 Black conservatives to deal with Mitch McConnell face to face and say, if you say you want a Republican Party with us in it, the price is do something. It had an effect. So I was happy that she had, I did my part, she did her part, a lot of people did part. And by the way, the grassroots did a part. It gets so focused on me because I'm so, as you said, polarizing. But please don't take anything away from Topeka K. Sam, a formerly incarcerated Black woman who went to the White House. And she was the one that got the standing ovation. And she's the one that moved everybody. It wasn't Van Jones. Please don't take anything away from a Lewis Reed, formerly incarcerated, who's leading the Empathy Network for the Dream Corps. They have an event on March 2nd you can find out about. I work with people who are directly impacted. I went into my first prison when I was in law school. I still cannot get over what I see. I see thousands of Black people, usually because I'm male, I'm going to male prisons, thousands of Black men, tens of thousands. They are all, let me be honest, Ebro, they're smarter than me, they're better looking than me, they're more athletic than me, they're more entrepreneurial than me, they have way more of everything than me, but the system snatched them up and put them in prison for stuff I saw kids doing at Yale every day. And those kids got a chance to get rehab or whatever and graduate. Some of those people are in high office. And yet those young men, now they're my age, have been in for 20 years and 30 years. I have survivor's guilt. I'm the Black guy they didn't get because I was too much of a nerd to get in any trouble. And so I'm out here looking at Black men who look just like me. There but for the grace of God goes me. And so it's personal to me. What would you do if it was your brother, your sister being held against their will by a kidnapper, a terrorist, by a prison? What would you not do to get them home? Who would you not talk to get them home? What picture would you not take to get them home? I am my brother's keeper. If you've ever been into a prison, you know what I'm talking about. And so I will do anything. I will work with anybody or against anybody to get those brothers home and those sisters home. And it all becomes about Van Jones and a photograph when there's this whole movement that's being ignored of people who've been through hell and walked into that White House and came out with a victory. And I was smiling my ass off. And I'm happy I was smiling my ass off. Now, do Candace and I have any ongoing opportunities to work together? Not so far. But I hope we can find something to do together because God's not finished with Candace Owens yet. He's not finished with me yet. He's not finished with none of us yet.
Van Jones, thanks for coming on the program as usual, having this conversation. Before we let you go today, you know, a lot was made of the pardons that happened. Speaking of jail, people getting out of jail, you know, Trump strategically, in my opinion, you know, pardoned people that, you know, would get a lot of notoriety on his behalf, rappers included, and also with the First Step Act was able to use that, which, as you pointed out, is a good thing, right? However, people don't quite understand the full story of the First Step Act, or even what Obama wasn't able to do because we didn't vote at the midterms in 2010. And he didn't have the Senate, and he didn't have the House, and Trump had those things, right? He had a House that wanted to get this done, and he had a Senate that was completely supportive of anything he wanted to get done. So where we are today is Obama doesn't get credit for the thousands of people that he helped get out of jail without the First Step Act, and he wanted to go farther but wasn't able to. Obama was the first president to actually walk into a prison and sit down with prisoners and, you know, have that dialogue. Doesn't get credit for that because it wasn't tied to a rapper or somebody who was popular on Instagram. But where we are today, is there a Second Step Act? What's the truth about the First Step Act? What are Kamala and Biden's administration working on with regard to continuing this momentum?
There will be a Second Step Act. I've been on the phone with senators this week. There will be a Second Step Act. Barack Obama has not gotten the credit that was due to him. You mentioned a bunch of positive. Can I say one more positive about him? His Department of Justice, even before you talk about executive orders or what, they started rolling back a lot of this nonsense. They said, we're not going to be throwing a book at people for nothing. And then when Trump's guys got in there, he put in Jeff Sessions, the worst attorney general ever. And Jeff Sessions undid everything that Obama did. So while Obama wasn't able to do everything legislatively, though he did have some positive bills, he did a lot administratively. Trump was the reverse. He took everything away administratively, but then he did some things legislatively. So, but the good thing is for Biden and Harris, you can now say you've had two presidents in a row that did something. So now you can do that much more. So there will be a second step or next step, whatever it gets called, act. And it will probably focus some on probation and parole, the Reform Alliance where I work, and that which now has a new CEO, Robert Rooks, who's unbelievable. By the way, this is my fifth successful social justice enterprise in 25 years with the Reform Alliance now. And they're all being led by young people of color, and they're all doing incredibly well. But Robert Rooks is coming into the Reform Alliance, and he will help guide us to get to a Next Step Act. And I do believe that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will follow up on some of the things that we have been fighting for. But this is a people's movement, and when we have highs and lows, we stick together. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about. I understand that people don't trust. People shouldn't trust me or anybody else. It's a very difficult world. But do your full research. And if you see anything that we're doing at the Reform Alliance or the Dream Corps you believe in, please help us, because we're not done fighting.
Van Jones, thank you for your time today. Thanks for coming on the program. And listen, man, if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping, baby.
They don't hate me. They hate Trump, and they hate the idea that any black person would have anything to do with him. And I understand that. But let's keep fighting. Let's keep fighting.
Take care,
Thanks, man.
bro. Talk to you later.